If we were still naming the episodes, maybe that would be this one. Blah blah blah.
Blah, blah, blah
This
on tape.
this is season 9, episode 40, number 388 of the Decoded podcast. Summer school continues, and we decided we would do it on a different day today.
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect we won't have our regular Gary and Rochelle visiting, which is, I mean, that's fine. They're missed, but it's fine. We get it. And the reason why we're doing this because we're both going on a little bit of a vacation. So we'll be away for a bit, and then it'll be nice to reunite when we eventually get back. Is that Hazel? Is that Hazel in the background? I hear movement.
There could be. She's not down here with me. I just left her upstairs, but I can hear movement upstairs.
I heard something. I'm like, it's got to be Hazel running around.
Yeah. So somebody's getting up. So we got to take the dog. I had said I wanted to take the dog over to the kennel earlier in the day, just kind of get that done.
Right.
So I had said if people are up, we will, whoever's up, they can come with. So yeah, that could be someone waking up and coming down and making coffee.
Oh, gotcha.
Here we go. We got Rochelle.
Good morning, Rochelle. Welcome to a Friday edition of the Decoded podcast, Summer School. We're breaking all the rules over here.
It's almost like long weekend version, and our long weekend will be a week. A week. Yeah. It'll feel like a 2-week off kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Saturday, and then the following Saturday. I don't get back into town until 1 a.m. on the 27th. So I won't be home till 3 a.m. That's a Monday anyways. So
I was going to say that's messed. Yeah, that's a Monday.
Yeah. By the time of the top of August pops back up at the end of that week, we'll be good to go.
That's crazy when you put it that way.
That will be through July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summers always go by too fast, man.
I don't think so. I don't feel that. Yeah.
Well, I could get used to never working again. That's the problem. So,
yeah.
I mean, working in what it looks like now, I could get used to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe one day that'll come. We'll see.
Well, of course it will. That's at some point, buddy. 80 years old. I hope you're not still working around 208. Although it could be.
I hope I'm not working either when I'm 80 years old, but we'll see what happens, right?
All right.
You never know.
Family vacations. Family vacations.
Where do we want to start with that?
I don't know. It's triggering. Everyone gets triggered in different ways. So the one thing I will say is this is like a stage of life thing, and we're similar and different in the stage of life. I mean, you've already got a kid at uni and you're working through the logistics of that. My kid's heading off to uni in September. Well, let's do it this way. So on the on-ramp, I was sharing with you, we had the discussion around here, like with a kid going into uni, the idea of doing the big family vacation has to be adjusted a little bit because the chunk of change that would be going towards that, we have to look at the finances. Was that ever a discussion for you folks as how you're going to sort of apportion funds so that you can still do your getaway? Or is that just, you just kind of deal with it as it comes?
Sir, there was a moment, I remember there was some dialogue discussion about what this summer would look like because of our boy being in university. Naively, this is very naive actually, I remember saying, just wherever you're working, ask for that week off. like it'll be accepted, it'll be given, right? But it's just naivete. I mean, we learned relatively quickly that he would be doing summer school. And you know what? I'm not this summer, I wasn't pushing for him to have a job, maybe like other parents might push, just
Hmm.
because of the summer school. And we had this book trip, the trip booked. And I don't know, bro. I don't know. Um, Based on our chat in the on ramp, I'm certainly not working through it the way you have been working through it or considering it.
Making enemies.
Well, no, I mean, trust me, I make enemies, no problem around here. But look, I'm still maybe in a, I think naivete is probably the word for this podcast today for me, because, as you talk about university, family trips, I still don't know how families pay for their kids to go. Now, I know not everybody pays the full ride or whatever, but we're doing what we can to support our kids the best we can. And
Hmm.
support looks different in different families based on your perspective and everything. There's lots of layers. I still don't even know how we're going to do it. But for me, and we're not going to delve too far into my therapeutic history and
Hmm.
my past, but for me, it's almost like if I'm not taking it one day at a time, I'm going to lose my mind.
Mm.
So, and when I mean one day at a time, I don't literally mean one day at a time. It's like just one chunk at a time. So right
Gotcha.
now, he's in summer school. He's doing well. He's, he's helping his grandparents when they need it. He's helping us here when we need it. I don't have any complaints. When we get to the time to pay for fall semester, I'm probably going to feel some stress, and wonder again, how do people do this?
Hmm.
Where do they find the funding? And yes, an easy answer is if the kid wants to go, he's gonna have to step out of whatever zone he's in and find employment. That is a possibility somewhere down the road. I don't know, dude. Literally, I just it's one day at a time.
Hmm.
One section at a time. I know I didn't update you on this, but we found out this last week that there's a problem with our basement.
Mm.
So that problem means that someone's going to have to come in and kind of demolish some of the basement. And then somewhere along the way, we're going to have to figure out how to fix the basement.
Right.
This was not part of my financial plan for this year.
This
So
was not on the 2026 blueprint.
it was not. And the first thing I thought as we're looking at the situation, it's not horrendous, but it's still worth thousands of dollars. That I thought I had done a good job of funneling money away, because I think I've told you this, for my son's living. Somebody has to pay for where he lives.
Hmm.
And so I kind of took that upon myself to make that happen. So I put together a plan. And this makes me laugh because these plans that I create, it's like, well, nobody's supposed to interfere with those, but that's just not how it works. So, long story short, call me Bob or whatever. There's a new expense that needs to be covered in the basement,
Yep.
and I didn't account for that. So I'm not sure where that money comes from. And then it makes me laugh a little bit, a psychotic type of laugh, like ha 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 at the universe, because I don't know what comes next. So what does next year look like, right? Like, do we plan now for next summer's vacation? Well, we could, and then we'll just have to wait and see if the oldest one's coming or not, because
Mm.
of the circumstances, life circumstances. We'll see. Now, I know I want to mention that when I told you that we found a place for the oldest to live,
Hmm.
we've been paying rent and he doesn't live there, but
Yeah.
that's the deal, right? who
Yep.
knows what that looks like next year in terms of if he decides to continue living where he's going to live, then he's got a place all year round here and he's got a place there. And that might turn into, well, I'm going to get a job out here. I'm still going to do summer school. I'm going to get a job and we'll see how it goes. Who knows, right? I don't
Yep.
know. But we were talking about it the other day. We're like, you've got a place in Guelph. He's like, you're right, I do. We're like, yeah, you do. So there, you know what? There's always something. There's always something that's ready to suck away money or to just say, I'm here and I need some attention. And I know I'm an adult and I'm in my second half of life and I still don't understand. I don't understand any of this financial stuff and I don't know how people make it happen. I guess we're making it happen one step at a time. And
Hmm.
what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is we just don't have the funding for it. And then the other players involved step up and find a way to make it happen. Like it's not all on me, but if I can't do it, then someone else will have to find a solution or just whatever it is gets put on hold until you find a way. I would love to not operate that way, but I know that not operating that way means that I have to try to exert control over situations and people. And it's been made clear to me that that doesn't work either
Mm,
in a healthy relationship. So
yeah.
so therefore, I take my hands off the wheel for that and I just say, okay, then I guess we'll do it one day at a time. And I just keep grinding. I keep doing what I can to make the financial stuff continue to happen.
Hmm.
But I'm one person, right? I mean, if my kid was hell bent on getting a job, he probably would have gotten one. And then who knows what would be happening with that income, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my position. I know it's kind of it doesn't really don't come to me if you want financial advice on how to deal with the whole university thing.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
tell you. Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go. No,
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 you
jump,
go.
jump, jump. I just say I am curious. I think I think Rochelle has mentioned. Rochelle's got youngins.
She
I
does.
think. Yeah. So I wonder, have we ever? I don't know. Like Rochelle, if you're able or willing, like, have you started the saving for the future kind of thing? Um, I know we did too. We started putting money away, like someone suggested to us. So we do have, depending on how. And I mean, okay, so it's this has become more. It kind of started with, okay, how do you pay for summer vacation? Kind of then got into, well, what's the kid's responsibility for carrying this out? And now we're kind of in the zone of, how long do I want to work? Because really, as educators, we can keep working for quite some time, at least according to the way our contracts right now. Like, uh, it's not as if we're going to be pushed out of our jobs. And it's a funny thing. I do believe that as a cert, good, Rochelle. Kudos. Started doing as soon as your kid was born. Um, we can kind of keep doing these supportive roles well into our 70s if you want. So, for me, like, that's great. I can work for another 15 years, 16 years if I want it. And then you get into that. But then what is the quality of life that you will sort of be stepping out into, right? As a 70-year-old, I hope to be healthy, but as a 70-year-old, will I still have the capacity to sort of enjoy retirement? Like, what do I do in retirement? And I know those are all, who knows? Who knows? They're all unforeseeable futures. But it's funny how all of a sudden, it only takes a couple degrees of separation, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, crap. Um, this whole idea of being, a parent and being the what's that called? The not an angel donor. What are those people called where you're trying to get money for an idea,
Angel
and you
investors?
yeah, like I'm like being almost like an angel investor in my own life, right? Because it's kind of like because that's what it comes down to. Because these angel investors or these ideas, or even investors, you're getting people to invest in an idea. Like you still want a return on it in some way. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna throw you 10K. What do I get for it? And that's it's a useful conversation as long as it can keep light and playful. But it also can become kind of like dark and competitive when you start kind of saying directly to your kid and your family, look, yeah, we have X amount. So people start putting in your ideas. How are we going to spend it? And sorry, if we say yes to you, we got to say no to you. Now, unless you're sort of working in the world of magical credit, which kind of skews it a little bit, because then it feels like you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. But really, if you're looking at the bottom line, your P&L sheet, so profit and loss, like you can't create money, right? You can borrow, but you can't create. So it's a funny zone, and I always walk away from it like I feel like I've accomplished. Like I said, you go from sort of like truth or logic into asshole mode so quickly because I try and sort of have conversations about this in a practical way. And it's like who brought the idiot to this party? It's totally like harsh in our vibe, man. But this is the side of parenting that you know I've been in conversations with friends and colleagues and with you. This is not unmapped territory. Parents have gone through this. If your parents were the type that didn't have any investments and they just kept working because they had to keep the family afloat, besides some of these fringe benefits of going to post-secondary education, like it's still reasonable, parents, even as educated as I am and as Karen are, to sort of say, well, you know what, kids, like you got to pay for it all yourself, and if you can't, well, go get a job. Like that's your life. Go ahead, it's yours. You can do this. Do we aspire on their behalf? Sure. Go to post secondary. Let's increase the odds that you're going to get a better paying job. Um, those conversations, we'll have to leave that for another podcast. But like, yeah, going from sort of truth and logic to asshole, I feel like I'm stuck in that loop right now, and I don't like it, but I feel like it's so necessary. Rochelle, it's coming. Truth, logic to asshole. It's coming.
Dude, I think about my dad paying for my tuition, and I had part-time jobs, and I just whatever I could whatever I could muster together would pay for the incidentals.
Yep.
I remember strongly. I don't remember where I was, but somebody said, "Hey, can you drive me to wherever?" I'm like, "I don't think I can." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I don't have a lot of money and I need it for gas." Like even at, 18, 19 years old, I was like 18, 19 years old, I was like, I know that I have food at home, my tuition's paid, I was able to pay for my books and other things like that. But now it's about whatever's left is kind of to get me around. And so I can't be that generous guy. I need to keep in mind I still need to be able to get to school and to get to work. And I felt this like I don't know what to call it, but even I was like, I'm not asking my dad for any money,
Mm.
right? Because he just forked over these thousands of dollars for school. Like I don't know what you call that.
I think it's
I would
maturity. I think it's self awareness. I think it's a reversal of the benevolence factor where you realize that you can actually relieve, because benevolence for me is this idea like, can I do I have the resources to release somebody from their stress or anxiety? And so you do a thing that's really done with kindness and compassion and concern, but you're doing it because you know, right? It's not, I don't see, I think I see benevolence as really only something that can be conveyed between in a relationship. You can be even benevolent. You can say, you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be your angel investor, and I'm not going to expect anything for it, but I know that I can help you out. Good Samaritan, if you will. You can even kind of reframe it that way. I think that you tapped into that. You were obviously tapping into that, because I think that you can only do that when you understand the person and the reality within which they exist. So there must have been something in you. Could have also started with, I'm just scared shitless, I don't want to ask my dad for this. Like, that's fair. That's fair too. I don't, or it could be you as a teenager. I don't even want to have the conversation again of them telling me you got to go get a job. So it could be avoidance as well. Teenager could be that, right? But there could be also an element like, I think what creeps in is like, F man, like the dude is like working, he leaves in the morning, he's back at night. Like, it's a relative comparison of the work it takes to make a dollar and the amount of time it takes to actually deplete those dollars is so much faster than the amount of work it takes to create those dollars. Maddie realized that partway through the summer when she was we were talking about the amount it would cost to get the brakes done on the car. Like, she's never talked about wanting a car for herself. And she's always been very polite and respectful when she's asked to use the car. It's never been like the car's just missing. And it's like, where to hell that she just has taken one of mine or Karen's car. So when we were talking about the brakes, it happened very close to another conversation talking about the money she's been able to save. So she's been able to save, well, she's been able to save about 10K over 2 years. And when we were talking about the amount of money that we spent on the brakes, or it was something with the car, she's like, damn, like the amount of time it took me to save enough money to actually where I could afford to pay for that particular car injury, that car repair. She goes, a huge chunk of my cash will be gone. I'm like, yeah. I said, the ticket price on things gets more expensive the more complex your life is, right? You never have to worry about paying for the brakes on the TTC or, our public bus system. I mean, your bus pass may go up, 10, $20 a year, but it still doesn't compare to what you pay for the bus pass and the access, and some of the inconvenience of having to take it does not compare to having to spend $15,000 to replace the brakes on a subway car. Like, it's not, you will never bear that cost. So I think, back to where you started with this, you tapped into a universal, and that is the amount of time that it takes to earn the money. You placed value on that effort. And I think in doing so, you realized, I don't really want to directly or indirectly force my dad to work more. So, sorry, Jimmy, I don't got gas. I don't have gas money, and my job isn't going to make me enough. I have no way to generate enough funds in order to sort of work that timeline. I don't. Yes to one is no to another. No to one is yes to another. I love this. This is a perfect moment of maturity.
I've heard from my kids have reminded me several times that their relationship with me is different than my relationship with my father. And I think they do it to justify they do it to justify maybe I want to say my expectations, but it's not my expectations. Like you said, I knew what it took for my father to make that money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, there's no damn way that I'm going to be in any way demonstrating that I'm wasting that money. Right. So it's like, I'm going to maximize and do everything I can to make sure that it's like there's some respect shown. And the way I would do it's probably different than how others would do it. But I just, like you said, I now calculate, like, when there's a cost, I calculate, "Oh my god, the cost of that is equal to this much time of me working to make that money," and it's just
Yep.
instantly gone, and nobody cares. Like, the person who's coming to do the work in my basement, they don't give a shit that it costs whatever thousands of dollars because that's what it costs for them to be able to afford the things that their life, right?
Mhm,
Maybe they have kids in school and they're like, your job's gonna pay for that summer semester or that fall semester. So
mhm,
let's get this show on the road. And so, yeah, I don't know what more to say. What I will say though is in what I'm feeling like these days is, and I said this to you before, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is your tuition doesn't get paid and you don't go to school for a semester.
mhm.
Now, I know if I said that out loud here, everybody would lose their mind.
Yeah.
But that is the worst case scenario. You still have a place to live and eat and sleep. I mean, if you didn't go to school for a semester, then maybe you could find a job because then you're not focused on school. So you can spend your time doing that. I don't know. I don't want it to happen, but that's the worst case scenario.
There's a funny little space in there too, right? Where I think you and I understand that the idea of something into willing something to life is not the same as discussing the possibilities, right? And I have been in that similar situation where I'm talking about several possible dark outcomes or distasteful outcomes, and I've been told in some way, like, "Oh, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that." Like somehow the universe is listening in, and they're gonna take my discussing it as a cue, like somehow I want it to be. It doesn't work like that. I don't think opportunity I don't think opportunity works on an oppressive level, like somehow talking about something, because we talked about opportunity, luck and preparation together. But all that means is you notice it. I think that opportunity doesn't enforce an outcome. It just presents it to you. And have you done the like are you lucky and lu- have you done the work to kind of figure this out ahead of time? And by discussing it ahead of time, you're not actually putting yourself in a position to make the thing happen. You're just expressing like know how the universe works and these things could. And maybe there's a little bit of a radar moment where you're sort of like, we're kind of in this space now. Yesterday we weren't in this space. Today we're in this space. Like that discussion I told you about, this aha moment about, okay, we don't have to spend this big chunk of cash on an AC, on a brand new air conditioner. The aha moment that occurs to me, something that pops up on my radar. I'm like, oh, okay, so cool. We don't have to spend that money now. Yay, we've saved X amount of cash. Now, is this the universe saying, okay, here's your opportunity? You now have the wisdom and the emotional kind of like intelligence to say, should we now start a payment plan to just put away 6 grand in the case that our AC dies? And we just do it. And we do a little savings account and we say 25 bucks a month or whatever. And this is the thing that we set up because now we've been given a peek at the universe behind the curtain. This could happen. And it could happen for no reason. Literally, when our air conditioner died, it was working on a Monday. On a Tuesday, it wasn't working. It was that. We didn't do any work to sort of do diagnostic, like, oh, okay, is the air conditioner good this summer? Like, we don't do that with our furnace either. We don't get the person to come in and do the tune up and to give us the heads up. We only know something's going wrong, much like, healthcare, when the thing is going wrong. There's no sort of cue ahead of time. But now that we have, do we set that up? I don't know. I don't know. But those conversations, again, they get into the zone sometimes around here, like I'm sort of aspiring to the bad outcome. I'm not aspiring to the bad outcome. I'm not afraid or bothered about talking about it. I can just talk plainly about it. Other people in the house, they don't like to, because it somehow creates like, bad juju. Like somehow magically it'll happen just because I talk about it.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Happy holidays, bro.
Yeah, seriously, eh? we had a moment of when we met with our financial advisor. We were talking about my youngest's education savings plan,
Mhm.
and and I gotta say, so I like our advisor. She's a nice lady, but I always feel like I'm getting scammed somehow with
Okay.
the way that I'm going to refer to them as a group, the way that they operate. Like, so anyway, so we're talking about the oldest and how the money's coming out and the money's being spent pretty damn quick. So what we've saved for him is it's leaving pretty fast, right? Because it took a damn long time to save it. Now it's going away. But she said, okay, let's look at your younger son and take a look at these numbers. And, she's like, there was some time here where you still have room. You have room to put this much in that the government will top up kind of thing. And we're like, okay, well, what's the number? Like, what do we need to put in to catch up to where we are, like to max out whatever? She gives us the number. And my wife's like, "Do we have that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, we're doing it." And I was just like, instantly, some money that was saved went right into his fund. Now, is that a good thing? Well, I guess it is because it goes in there now and later, theoretically, it'll be there for us to spend on his school. But I don't mind telling you, it kind of hurt to see that chunk just leave. And I kind of felt like I was getting there's something about that industry that just rubs me the wrong way. The way that they're like, "Well, what if we do this?" They're always looking their job their job to get paid, they have to sell things. They have
Mhm.
to make the money move, right? And it's like sometimes I don't like the way that they suggest money move because it's not their money. So I always kind of feel slimy after meeting because it's like they try to rope you. Like, and I'll say to my wife, "Did you see that? They tried to rope us into this and that." And my wife is like, "Well, it'll help in the future." I'm like, there is no future if there's no present. There is no future. So if they suck us dry now and we can't function, we're not going to get to later.
Mhm.
We need to make sure we can be here today. And yes, it's nice if we can make sure that there's something for the future, but there's no future if we can't function today. So somebody thinking about a vacation next summer, that doesn't happen if we got to deal with the basement and fall semester right now. Nothing comes next. So yeah, it's just what it's the days of our lives, and with every chapter there's a new experience. So right now Rochelle is like squirreling away money, right? And Rochelle's dealing with what she's dealing with elementary kids. Now I wish Gary was here because both of Gary's kids are finished university. they
Mhm.
both they both earned an undergraduate degree. I don't know what they're doing next, but
Mhm.
Gary's still living. Gary still has a house. He still has a job. I don't know if Gary's taking vacations, but I know he got two kids through. Don't know what his recipe was. Don't know what his savings were. None of my business, but it is nice to see that he's still kicking and his kids made it through a degree.
That is true.
Um, but I don't know what sacrifices came with that. I don't know how much his kids contributed to that. I don't know any of that information.
Yeah. Tale as old as time.
There's
Besides
always
being
something.
well, yeah, they're sure that, but it's also the launching of your kids, right? They're in that fledgling state, getting bounced out of the nest, and um, the testing of their skill sets, which include mindsets, right? Includes sort of like the way that they kind of think, not just their sort of resiliency or their physical health or their financial health. It also is like are they able to notice that they need to start flapping? The ability to notice you need to start flapping. Yes, to notice that you're falling, to notice that, that perception of awareness of their body and mind in space, and what is it that space is demanding from them right now. So, I have no doubt that both of my kids are job capable. The second level to that, are they capable of, do they have the stamina to sort of like stand up to what the industry and getting a job right now in the future looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the parenting kind of like trap. And of course, I can keep working and Karen can keep working and the kids can keep living at home. You've mentioned this, the worst case scenario. And again, I'm happy to discuss that. But again, I go from truth and logic to asshole pretty quick. If there isn't elements of cheerleader, like, go ahead, you can aspire, you can do more, you can do better. In much the same way, like your dad wanted to ensure, like him doing the hours that he did for you to get the degree that you did, I'm sure in one part was because he loved you in his way, whatever that was. He wanted to provide for you as a father. But there's also this sense of progression and competition that you want your kids to do somewhat better than you. Right. And that's a story for parents of any class or any immigrant status. Like you want to know that your kids can exist in that next space. I think you want to know that you helped a little bit to get there. And you want to know that they can stay there, that they're not going to fall. Because if they fall and you can't catch them in the same way as you did when you were working full time and you had a lot of money, like that could be a scary thing. Like that's kind of the zone that I'm looking at. Like, what's my capacity to support my kids if their dreams or if their future doesn't transpire? Because I know that I can't and won't keep working full time forever. So when retirement hits, the hope is that your kids are installed in that the floor on their stage is stable and they can stay there and they can keep doing it, right? I don't want to have a situation where that my stability in retirement is dependent on my kids paying rent in my house. Like but again, that's for another podcast. Rochelle, this is the happy podcast, season 9, episode 40, number 388. This is summer school, but it's more like, this is like, why do people do summer school? Well, they have this sort of invisible aspiration to do better or to fix or to sort of make a change. It's a pivot point. So this is a good topic for summer school. Ish. Happy holidays.
That's good for today, eh?
Yeah, I had a big harv last night. I don't think it was my
It's
stomach
not sitting well.
It's not sitting well. So.
That's not good, dude. I hope that whatever that is doesn't last long.
I hope they weren't buying their lettuce from the States.
Oh God. Don't even get me started on that big harv. Okay. Rochelle, thanks for chilling with us live today.
Great to see you, Rochelle.
And I guess we'll see you again in August. Oh my God.
For sure.
We just said that.
I'll check on polos. I'll be checking in every once in a while. So
right on. Okay. This was season 9, episode 40, number 388. Have a good one.
You too, brother. You too.